Hi, and welcome to the first edition of SDI Review, a training for special education teachers. Over the next few months, I will be reaching out to you with different opportunities to review our skills related to writing SDIs within our IEPs. Just a few general reminders as we wrap up quarter one. Specially designed instruction means adapting as appropriate the content, methodology, or delivery of instruction to address the unique needs of the student that result from the student's disability and to ensure access of the student to the general education curriculum so that he or she can meet the educational standards. This is our definition of what a specially designed instruction is meant to do. Note that these are needs because of the student's disability, and we need to make sure that we're able to support them in the general education curriculum. You should be able to tie an invisible string to the present levels of your IEP, the needs, the goals that you are implementing because of that, and then also to the SDIs. We should not be writing in SDIs that are not related to the needs of the student. If the student does not have specific needs, we aren't going to be writing SDIs in just because we think that they would be helpful. There has to be evidence of that written into your present levels and noted in the needs of your IEP. Remember that SDI should be as detailed as possible, enough so that they are able to be implemented by any member of the IEP team. We want our general education teachers to be able to pick up the IEP, read through the SDIs, and understand what the expectations are for implementing that SDI within their setting. Here are the two pieces of training that I have for you this month: extended time and retakes. Let's start with extended time. The first thing I want us to consider is this extended time in minutes for a test or extended time related to days, allowing the student extra time to complete that particular assignment? We need to know which type of extended time our students require. This should be for students that require it because of their needs related to their disability. This isn't something that we should just put in place because it would be easier for the student. It absolutely must, again, be tied to the needs and the present levels. Please be specific. How much extra time does this student require? And remember that more isn't always better. Sometimes if we're asking that students have more days to complete an assignment, then they're responsible for more than one task in that particular course, and sometimes across units or lessons, and that can be really confusing for them. Take a look at retakes. Often we see retakes listed in students' IEPs underneath SDI. Often it will say unlimited retakes or retakes until student achieves passing grade or maybe even an 80% mastery on that particular assessment. What I want you to remember is that many teachers allow for one additional retake to be built in. This may not be the case on tests, but is often the case on quizzes. Take a peek and see what your teachers provide. Remember that this should not be in place just to get the student a passing grade. This is not a way for students to pass. If our students are struggling to pass tests, then we want to be proactive. What are some SDIs that we could put in place to support the students' access to the curriculum before that assessment? Here are some instead ofs. Instead of just writing an extended time, you could write extended time at the request of the student or learning coach, not to exceed 1 week. Assignments at the end of the quarter need to be turned in by the last day of the quarter, to be discussed with the teacher of the class in which the extension is requested. This SDI is specific and detailed. I know that this student requires extended time related to days for assignments. Look at the second instead of. What about extended time on assigned tests? You can note whether the student requires untimed or specific time limit in order to allow for extended response time. Here, I've noted that my student requires extra time taking assessments because they need to be able to take the time to process their response. Here are some instead ofs for unlimited retakes. What if we provide some read alouds to the student? Tests read out loud when requested by student, either by recorded sessions or by special education teacher. This is being proactive and allowing the student to access the test in a way that might help them to pass it on the first attempt. How about this second one? Instruction on test-taking strategies to support students' ability to earn a passing grade on first testing attempt. Again, being proactive and knowing that if our student is taking 3 and 4 attempts, maybe they need some instruction on test-taking strategies, helping them to eliminate answer choices, reading the questions very carefully. These are just a couple examples of what you could do instead of just having very short, not specific SDIs related to extended time and unlimited retakes. As far as additional resources are concerned, most of us who've been here for a little while were given the pre-referral intervention manual. This manual provides a ton of interventions for students, and they're all organized by need and skill set, which is wonderful. You can see on the left-hand side, I've taken a snip from this book related to students that do not test well. And you can see that there are a couple different strategies, two specifically that I gave you as examples in the previous slide. If you do not have the PRIM, you can consult your direct supervisor. A few other additional resources. Go back to the beginning. Revisit your student's reevaluation or initial evaluation. What SDIs were recommended by the special education team at that time? Are there any suggestions listed that would support your student's need in our setting? There might be some additional ideas that didn't make it into the IEP the first round, and that's okay. There could still be something in there that might be beneficial to your student. Another area is to look online. There's so many opportunities for parents that have shared what's been done, teachers that have shared what they do. This particular website is 500 SDIs and accommodations to support students. Again, these are not all written as well as they could be, so please do not use them verbatim. I would recommend looking at them, taking the idea, and making them specific to our setting. Thank you so much for spending just a few minutes reviewing SDIs with me. If you have any additional questions, concerns, or suggestions, visit me during my open office time on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. You should see that invitation to that optional meeting in your email. If not, you can certainly email me at vnatali@agora.org.